Well, not totally. He hadn't practiced. He went through some shots yesterday. Um, so hopefully, today or tomorrow we'll get a full practice out of him. Kind of see what happens when guys don't practice. Jackson comes back after his long layoff and struggles the first few games, and Nate didn't practice, but then played the other day and offensively really struggled. And Dev didn't practice, and he came in and he didn't, so practice at least made my point relevant there that, it does matter. But I think Dev's out. He didn't respond well to treatment on his groin and hasn't practiced. I don't think he'll be available Saturday. And but I think hopefully the other Nate will be able to play, and KJ will be able to play, and I think they'll be back.
KJ talked. It's one person on their team, but KJ talked about we need to buy in. We need to stop doing it our own way and listening to your coaching and the staff's coaching. Are you getting that sense from the rest of the group since last weekend?
Well, it's a quiet group, so I'm not sure. The things that we believe are important, sometimes take a while for guys to understand. But, there hasn't been a team in Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four that hasn't had a good defense, especially here. Defense travels, you hear that all the time. And, you control the things you can control. You can control your effort, your communication on the defensive end. You can control your effort to the boards. Some night the shots just don't go in, and that's something that you can't control. So, we always talk about control the things you can control, and defensively and on the board you can control your effort, you can control your communication. It's a little easier to control than sometimes the offensive end.
How much of that at this point, Dana, is still effort related versus sheer consistency? Because like second half UCLA, obviously the shooting numbers for them went way down, but the first half also obviously happened, and San Diego State happened. So how much of it, 9 games, whatever we're up to, 8, 9 games in, is sheerly execution, or is consistency, or what is it?
I think when guys aren't having success at what they're doing, they become hesitant. They lose a step. And I think the guys want to do it. There's a reluctancy, there's a hesitation, which goes back to, you've got to be decisive. You got to have, the willingness to go out there and do some tough things. And our guys maybe, don't believe that those things are as important as they are. I don't know. They're a good group of guys. I don't have any problems with them off the floor or anything like that. It's not like they're fighting us on things. They're just not willing to give themselves to the team and do the tough things that are necessary. And so, again, I just got to keep working with them. It would help if everybody get healthy, especially our leaders. We've got to have Nate on the floor. Before Nate got hurt, when he was on the floor, we were a different team. When KJ started to play well, we were a different team. We know we're a different team when Jackson's out there. So, again, we need those 3 guys because of their experience. Way's got to make some progress. We need another guard. We got Big E's got to make some progress. Sean's got to do things better. He's got to play his role better. Dez did some good things, but he also, it was either a real plus or a real minus. There was no in-between ground with him. So, again, just a lot of progress to be made. We're off to a terrible start here. So we've got to get things corrected and to start, get guys healthy, get them back on the floor, guys that we know we have to have because of their experience, and then we got to go from there.
I know it was finals week, but what was maybe the biggest benefit of kind of having this little stretch where you can practice and get closer to where you feel like your team needs to be?
Well, we needed some good practices, and because of availability of players, I'm not sure we've achieved that. But we've got 2 days here. Today's big day. I hope the medical report comes in a little better than it's been coming in. But we need a day. Tomorrow, Davis is a good team. I mean, they played Colorado tough, Hawaii on the road tough. They mix up their defenses. They're going to give us a lot of problems. We need guys practicing, getting ready for this game because it's going to be a tough game.
About Davis, just what stands out on film, and I guess what have you seen from them?
Well, they're an experienced team. They know what they want out of possessions. They're further along than we are, as far as knowing what they want on offense and defense. I've known Jim for a long time. He's a good basketball coach, and he's got a bunch of guys that really are playing their roles well. So like I said, I just think they're a little further along than we are right now.
If KJ can't go, like you say, with Dev out, just how thin does it start getting? Because I would assume that Sean and Dez then kind of fill in starting roles, and you're down to Big E, Sasha, and Jamari, and off the bench, and Drew, and that's about it. It's about an 8 or 9 man rotation if you start getting trimmed.
Yeah, no, like I said, we need those guys to get healthy, and especially the guys with experience. So, I like you said, the second half against UCLA, we played really hard. We didn't play smart all the time. We got that thing down to 3 a couple times and turned the darn thing over. But we played harder. We rebounded the ball better. Just had stretches where we just not tough enough to get it done. But no, that one good thing about the week is we've had a lot of guys get a lot more practice time and reps and so forth. So hopefully, they are ready to go if called upon.
Your thoughts on just TK's adjustment from the middle of your season so far to now? It seems like his shooting percentages are going up a little bit.
No, he's got some really careless turnovers, and we need his assist to turnover ratio to improve for an off guard. He's got to do a better job there. But no, I think he's being patient offensively, not, taking real quick shots. And because of that, he's shooting over 40% from 3, really picking the ones he likes, which I think he has to. Defensively, he's trying to improve. He's got a ways to go, but, he is listening to what we're trying to do. He just, it's a much more physical game than he's used to. So he's making the adjustment there. But I would say the biggest thing right now that we need is just he's got to create more shots. He's got a negative assist to turnover ratio, which, you just can't have from a guard. We missed that playmaking ability. I think, TJ Bamba had over 100 assists last year, and Key, had a really good assist to turnover ratio. So, we missed that, and we need some of those guys to make more plays than they are right now.
It's hard to ask anybody to do all the things that Jermaine did, but do you need him to play more like Jermaine as far as finishing at the hoop, getting to the line, and also distributing? Forget about the 3-point. You can't check every box.
Yeah.
Those elements specifically.
I'm not sure he's that kind of player, James. I'd like to see him just improve his assist to turnover ratio and become a better defender. I don't think he's going to finish at the rim like Jermaine did. But I think he's more in the category of Keyshawn. And if we could get that, 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio that Keyshawn ended up with, Key really started to communicate last year defensively and did a better job defensively last year than he did any of the previous years. And so I'd like to see TK make those steps. And if he did, that would really help us. If he could flip that assist to turnover ratio, make some shots for Jackson, make some more plays for Nate, that would definitely help.
The football team announced Kenj Harrison's signing, and he's made it public that he wants to play both basketball and football here. He was a pretty regarded just basketball in general player before he went to football. What were your experiences watching him or being involved in figuring out what he could do at the next level?
Well, we talked with him, met with his family when he was on campus. And we know his future's in football. I think he knows that, but he is a good basketball player. If he were to focus on basketball, he's a hell of a rebounder, very physical player. No, I got an opportunity to watch him in the UIBL. Went and waved at his mom and waved at him just like you would at all the recruits. And no, he's a good player. But it'll be tough for him, because Dan's got it going, and they got great things going over there. And if they're playing into mid-January, it makes it a little tough on them. But he has the ability to help us. There's no doubt. And whenever he's available, we'll bring him in. Just because if we need some physicality, we need some boards. I wouldn't be afraid to throw him out there because, like I said, guys that'll rebound and defend, maybe get you an extra possession. He could definitely help us.
Yeah, that's the traits then that if football wasn't a thing, he would have been highly recruited.
Absolutely. No, he's a top 100 recruit basketball-wise. Yeah, he's a phenomenal athlete. And like I said, if he weren't playing football, he would definitely play for us.